Hello, everyone, and welcome yourselves back to the YouTube channel and back for another episode of the Adam, Ronnie, and Zippy podcast. Obviously, I'm Adam, and I have my good friend and guest, Ronnie LeDrew. Obviously, Zippy is who Ronnie puppeteered, voiced, brought to life, basically. So, how are you, Ronnie?
I'm fine, thank you. And so is Zippy, although he's having a rest today. He couldn't believe the weather was so lovely. I think it's been so boring with rain round here. But anyway,
Uh,
enough of all
oh
that.
no, but lovely to see you again. Of course, we're here
Thank
to
you.
talk about a couple of topics.
Yeah.
One being your puppet teaching, which is recently a new thing for you.
Yeah, well, actually, believe it or not, my very first sort of job was assisting a mentor of mine who I've mentioned before on previous podcasts, Violet Philpott. She was a really brilliant glove puppeteer.
Yes.
And before we did Rainbow, I used to assist her. And fun enough, it was making simple puppets. They were made, glove puppets made out of junk materials such as egg boxes and toilet rolls and all that sort of stuff. And it was for kids. And I used to help glue things on for the kids and stuff. So that was my beginnings of puppet training. But I then sort of, I suppose the next sort of stuff was at the Puppet Centre Trust in Battersea, and that was the old Battersea Town Hall. And there, they had a wonderful collection of puppets. So I did probably my very first marionette training, for
Okay.
people who were
Yeah.
interested. Short strings, not long strings. There wasn't a bridge, in the Puppet Centre, but that was lovely. And so I did a few courses, ran a few courses there. And then eventually the little angels said, look, we've got time in the summer. This was years ago. How about you doing a long string puppet, sort of course? And so I put a few things out. I said, well, could we have 2 weeks? The first week we'll go through with short strings, and then we'll go up on the bridge. We have 6 people, and they'll be learning how to work longer string puppets, because that's quite a it's much more tricky. String puppets are the most trickiest to
Right.
learn.
Okay.
So, and they agreed. So I did a few years of string puppets. Sadly, the last one we did, which was probably, it must be, I'm going to say 8 or 9 years ago. It was quite a long time
Right.
ago, and they had they had to give a few two free places because they didn't get enough people paying. I don't know what the cost was because I didn't have anything to do with that. But and there was two of us. You see, there was two. I wanted to have somebody upstairs on the bridge in case people got you know tangled up or
Oh, right.
couldn't
Yeah.
understand what they were doing with the puppet. And I would be downstairs looking at the puppet and seeing how it was moving. Basically, you do that because you can't see. I'd be looking up on the bridge, but I can't see what they're up to. It's better to have two people. So
Yes.
that was the case there, and that they were very successful. I love doing those, um, and I made quite a few friends actually through doing those. Um, and then I started doing some teaching at, fun enough, it's now called the Royal Central School of Dramatic Art, and there was a lady called Penny Francis, sadly no longer with us, and she asked me to do a marionette. I think I did a few days, short strings again there, and I did several courses with Central School. And then towards the middle of the 70s, my Caroline and I, it's my excuse me, my then wife, we set up a school called the London School of Puppetry.
Okay.
But funny enough, oh, I do apologize.
Bless
I've
you.
got hay fever. That would be dreadful. I've never had it. But anyway, but the thing is, we'd moved to Yorkshire by then because when I say we moved, we kept tenants on here in London, and we rented a place in Yorkshire. Yorkshire being the place where Caroline's parents lived, and it was a beautiful place called Grassington, which is where they film All Creatures Great and Small on Channel 5 now.
Okay.
It's absolutely stunning, wonderful old Georgian type building with cobbled streets and everything. Anyway, so, and we did a week's course to begin with in a lovely old, it was a barn converted into, I think it was, I think it was like a mini art centre. And we managed to hire the puppet centre's collection of puppets. So we hung them all around the outside. And I think we did a week's course then showing different puppets. And that was wonderful. Had a lovely time. And then the following year, we might have had a year in between, but I can't remember. We did a 2-week course and we managed to hire the local Grassington school, little primary school. So we had the hall for bigger things. We had separate rooms for other things going on. And we had probably about 15, 16 students, which was wonderful.
Oh, wow.
And that was lovely. Again, we did every type of puppet as much as we could anyway. The only thing I didn't have at that stage was monitors for television stuff, but we did rod puppets, shadow puppets, glove puppets, marionettes, and a lot of puppeteers who went to the courses we did in Grassington are now running puppet centres and doing, they're already fully fledged puppeteers, which is really rather nice. And then I'm just I hope I'm going through this sort of in the right stages. And then I started going back to the Little Angel doing stuff for what happened was they acquired an old community centre 2 roads away from the Little Angel, and they made it their Little Angel Studios. And upstairs there's a sort of black box where they can do performances, and downstairs there's room for teaching. And I started doing a foundation course, and I did it originally. I actually ran it for something like, I think it was about 8 or 10 weeks doing different puppets. I'm not a maker, so it was all about manipulation of puppets.
Yes.
All these courses really. And anyway, they asked me to carry on, and I said, look, it's lovely, but it's actually stepping in the way of, at that time, some jobs that were coming up. So I couldn't, I didn't take it on, but I said I can come in as a guest tutor. And believe it or not, that's what I've been doing for years. I've got one coming up in July, doing some glove puppetry. I've got some, I've got a student I've had for, it's got to be about 5 years, a lovely guy, retired professor, very academic, but he loves his marionettes. And it's a marionette, he's made a marionette monkey, and he's been learning how to do that. And he comes up from Brighton. I mean, it's extraordinary. He comes to the house. I have a mirror. I have, a carpet for him to work his puppet on. And it's lovely. And and he's booked a couple of sessions. I just had him in last week, actually. And he's booked a couple because he's got things he's doing. He wants to fit it all in again. So it's like he doesn't want to stop. It's wonderful. Yeah. And then that happening, I also, I don't know, I think from doing those, I've done individual courses for people that ring up and say, can you come, can I come and, do stuff? And I've done stuff at a place called the Arts Workers Guild. That's in Bloomsbury, rather nice building. And I've done marionette demonstrations, done a few of those. And then I did a marionette course again, not so much for the foundation course, but we shared it. There was a puppeteer who's a brilliant puppet maker, marionettist, Steve Mottram, and myself, and we shared doing this marionette few days course. So that was good. And in between, of course, there was film jobs and telly and all that sort of stuff. And then eventually, coming a little bit up to date, Curious School started, and I think it's 7 years ago. And Sarah, who was John Wright's daughter, Lindy and John Wright's daughter, runs the school. And she said, oh, Ronnie, you must come along, and we're going to give you 3 days of working, marionettes, because that's your thing. I said, oh, I'd love to. And of course, I've got all the Little Angel marionettes, Lindy's marionettes, which are beautifully carved and really lovely. And I've done that for the last few years, last 7 years, and that's lovely. That's usually in January. I I have 3 days working. I share it with a brilliant puppeteer called Stan Middleton, and he runs the Puppet Barge in Little Venice, although he's actually, in the summer, they go up to, where do they go to? They go up to the river beyond Richmond. Oh, it's not Great Missenden. It's somewhere near Oxfordshire. Really lovely. And so he does that. But so, yeah, I mean, it's lovely, actually. And fun enough, just today I've had somebody's inquiring, can you do some, more stuff? And basically there's a magazine, a rather posh magazine. And I gave the Little Angels name, and they've decided that they'll use the theatre, and they're going to make a sort of stage, because there isn't a permanent marionette stage there now. I
Right.
mean, so anyway, this magazine's going to set it all up. Had a meeting again this week, and so they're going to do that, and I'm going to do a few days, because the Little Angels got a grant. I don't think it might be the English Heritage Fund or something. And it's been years I've been saying, why can't we have a marionette show at the Little Angel? And sure enough, they managed to get a grant this year. It's for training. It's in a way, it's in the summer. The show will be the what's it called? The Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Oh,
Not the
yes.
Disney one, but taken from the original poem. I'm hoping to see that, because I've never seen the original poem. Anyway, and he's got Guy who's doing it, Oliver. He's got some musicians who's going to compose special music for it. And he's hoping to get a narrator in as well. But he wants really to mostly do it to music. And they've been advertising for 6 beginners, new
Okay.
puppeteers, because basically the thing is that they can't. It's for promoting the art of the marionette. It's a sort of almost not quite a lost art, but it needs promoting, and this is what English Heritage have done. So they're saying, well, it's got to be a sort of community-based thing. We can't use existing marionettes, although it would be lovely, because the operating would be brilliant. But that's the way they got the money, so
Yeah,
that's
of
what we're
course.
going to do. So we're going to I've got, I think, 4 days rehearsing, and then I'm coming to see the show. It won't be till August. If you go on the Little Angel Theatre website, there is advertising for it now, and
Right.
that's just www.littleangeltheatre.com, and there's lots of stuff there. Another thing I did last year, which was wonderful, well, again, marionettes, but there's the very first puppet theatre to be built for years and years, and it's called the Harlequin Puppet Theatre, or it is called the Harlequin Puppet Theatre. And I think it was November, I did it, and it was just a day, but it was a full-on day, and we did some marionette work there, and that was lovely, using a puppet theatre. And I haven't been to the Harlequin Theatre for years, so
Right.
it was really nice to see it. And that's in North Wales, Ross on
Oh,
Sea,
very nice.
which is beautiful, actually, lovely. With your coasters across, the theatre's there, and then you look across, and there's the beach, and it's
Yeah.
very nice, lovely. So yeah, very busy with training and stuff. So, and that's really, I think I'm up to date with stuff now. Oh yeah, I told you about the Little Angel stuff that's going to happen a bit soon. So yes, it's all happening, which is very nice. So
You're a busybody, aren't you, Ronnie?
I am. I'm actually trying to slow down a bit, which I am. It sounds like, I just listed a whole list of stuff, but there are breaks in between. So it's just because last year I did, oh my goodness, I don't know how many Comic Cons,
Oh, really?
and I nearly exhausted myself, to be honest, because it was like nearly every weekend. It's not so much sitting there chatting to the fans, that's lovely,
Yeah.
but it's just the traveling, it's all over the
Oh,
country.
yeah.
And trains sometimes are cancelled, and you have to get
Trains are awful.
the pain in the bum. So anyway, So I've decided not, to have breaks, and it's actually been quite useful, really, to do
Yeah.
that. So I'm doing that. So yeah, that's my sort of training bit. But anybody who wants to know about training, there are, I mean, the Puppet Guild does, here you are. I don't know whether you can see that.
Yeah,
That's
perfect.
the Puppet Guild that I'm president of, and they run, courses, training courses, and not just with, marionettes, but all sorts of different puppets. And they have a fabulous bi-monthly newsletter with lots of activities. They have an annual magazine, which is the Puppet Master, beautifully produced, and it is a membership organisation, but it's well worth it. And they've got a huge archive of, UK puppetry. They've probably got the biggest in the world, because
Oh wow.
Michael Dixon is the archivist, and he is a great collector, and he's got his own collection plus the Guild's collection. He has a huge, well, I say I haven't been there yet, but there's a big sort of barn of a place where he's got all this stuff sort of set out. And he has more or less a permanent exhibition in. He lives in near Wolverhampton, and there's is it Banbury House, something house, and he always has a puppet exhibition there. It's usually just 2 rooms, but it's quite nice to visit. But and there's some puppets on in London. I'm going again next week to the British Library,
Oh nice.
in King's Cross, and they've got a fairy tale exhibition. So they're going to show that. I've been once already, and it is beautiful. Actually, it's beautifully done, and they've got puppets there. Well, they've got 2 of Oliver Hymes, who's been setting up this marionette course, which is great. They're lovely, nice marionettes. And then 2 of John Roberts, who made marionettes. He's been teaching carving of marionettes for a long, long time, as well as running his own company, Puppet Craft. And they're 2 of them, but they're beautifully, displayed. And there's some model theatre there. There's a clip of Cinderella from Lottie Reiniger, who's this amazing animator who worked long before Disney and set up animation and stuff.
Oh wow.
So it's beautiful stuff, silhouette stuff. But yeah, so there's quite a lot happening. I mean, I went to a wonderful place, I think it's called Renshaw House. It was near Sheffield. And I went with this lovely organisation called the Benjamin Pollux Theatre Museum. Oh, I don't know what, there's quite a long title they've got. And they're lovely eccentrics. And I went there, and it was a coach trip from King's Cross all the way to this house, and it was lovely. The house belonged to the Sitwell family, Edith Sitwell was a famous poet, rather like the Bloomsbury time.
Oh right.
This sort of
Yeah.
just after the First World War or just before the First World War. There it is, sort of, eccentric, but wonderful, beautiful building. And they had an exhibition of some toy theatres, plus 2 wonderful costumes from the Diaghilev period of ballet. And a dear friend who I gave my last copy of the book, long last, Jane Pritchard, who gave a talk about the history of this one play. I think it's something or other, Neptune, I can't remember the title. But that was lovely, and there was a ballet of it, and then Pollux Theatres made this little model theatre version of it. So yeah, no, it was really nice, actually. So yes, there's sort of stuff happening in the old puppetry world.
Oh yes. I'm sure you would never not stop doing puppetry.
No, I won't really, but I am definitely taking breaks now. Like tomorrow, I've got to do some food shopping, because I've got to eat.
Oh, you've got to do
But
the normal stuff, Ronnie. Can't starve
I've got to
yourself.
tidy up the kids' bedrooms, because all that. But anyway, yeah, and then I've got a free weekend, which is nice. So I'm just going to, do all that. But so yeah, and I can't remember my next official engagement is oh good, it's another visit to the British Library on Thursday next week. So
Oh, very nice.
got a few days
Yeah.
to
And it's a bank holiday
rest.
this Monday as well.
It
So.
is, yes. So and I was worried that it was going to be, Arsenal's just won the
Are you an
cup.
Arsenal supporter?
Well, I have to be really, but I'm not really.
Oh, good.
Well, I live
We'd have to end
round
the podcast if you were.
I live round the corner.
Dear.
So,
Oh wow.
well, Emirates. Well, I live round the corner from the old stadium, the
Oh,
30s
Highbury.
stadium. Yeah, Highbury, which is about 2 roads away.
Wow.
But the Emirates is more about 4 roads away, which is beautiful, and I still can hear the cheers and
Oh, is he
all the
that
rest.
close? I didn't realize they were that close to stadiums. Well,
Yeah,
obviously
yeah,
not.
they
It's
are
not
quite
Highbury's not there
close.
anymore, but yeah.
No, oh, it's all posh flats now.
Oh
It's
wow.
all. Oh yes, it's all very. They're not. They've knocked. They had a modern extension. I think the East Wing or whatever they called it, East Stand. That was knocked down because that was made. That was a 70s add-on. And it was,
Right.
but it's mostly a 30s building. They kept all the old. I think it's Grade 2 listed, and they've made lovely modern flats. I mean, there should have been some that have been, a bit more for affordable housing. I think they call
Yes.
it. Well, I think there's probably about 3. The rest of them, it's all ridiculous. And the actual ground is used for allotments and things now. But so they've got some
Oh.
sort of. I've never been in because it's all locked gates and everything, but it looks lovely from outside.
Yeah.
So yeah, so all very
Oh.
good.
Wow. And it's weird to think that a football stadium would be there for that long and then just gets turned into flats and allotments.
Well, yeah, I think they needed a bigger state. They had such a big, I mean,
Oh
Arsenal's
yeah.
got a huge fan base. I mean, they were, where were they when they won the this cup? They weren't playing. It was Manchester City, I think, were playing,
Yeah, they drew
and then
to Bournemouth.
yeah, that's right. And so, of course, they were. Well, there was cheers, and there was like a big party going on outside. People just rushed, and the cars going by. It's quite. I think it's May the 31st. They're going to drive through
Oh,
Islington, holding the old,
the bus tour
uh,
thing.
yeah, open bus. So
Oh, very nice.
be out of there. Hello, football people. Bye.
You get off my street.
Well, luckily it's along the Blackstock Road, so it won't be. They won't come up my road.
No, not up Ronnie's road. He don't want you
Oh
up there.
no,
Oh no.
no. But but no, it's should that anyway. There we go. Yeah.
Well, I'm
So
very
there we
grateful you
are.
don't
That's
support
some
him.
training stuff for you.
Well, thank you, Ronnie, for enlightening us about another thing you have in your arsenal of brilliance.
Arsenal, I like that. Yes.
Ah. But for the people watching, we have a couple of things we want to touch upon on Rainbow.
Oh right, yeah,
More skillful things, Ronnie. This is more going back to the 70s when
yeah,
Ronnie was in Rainbow, the
yeah,
technical side of Rainbow. Um, Low seats, I'm guessing,
yeah.
refers
They
to,
were made so we could have a. What was difficult was there's no way we could kneel under the table
yeah,
and work the puppets. It's a killer on the back and in your arms as well, and also your head probably would show.
yeah,
So they made these very well, I don't know who designed it. It might even been a puppeteer before me, John Thurtle, maybe designed this. See, but it was on. They were on little trolleys, that very low, and they had a back so that I could sit on this floor, and I'll be put a cushion on it because it was a bit hard without anything. Anyway, and so it was sort of a bit like that.
yeah. So your
So I
body could
sat
just,
on length. So at least we
yeah,
had our back. Um, supported, which was great. And we could sit under the table there. And then if we went in the garden, because we had a sort of garden set sometimes, we could get behind the wall, we could be sitting on those, and that would be good. So that was quite useful. Obviously, we had monitors to
yeah.
see what we were doing because we couldn't look up because the puppet was covering our tops of our head. So we had, and in those days, I used reverse scan monitors, which meant that we saw the same. No, we saw a reverse of what you saw
Okay.
on your screen at home, which meant I didn't have to go opposite ways. When if Jeffrey was standing here, if it was a non reverse scan, I would have to turn that way. But when you see it on your screen, it
Ah,
looks
I
as though.
see.
And I found that really tricky. It's partly because I started with a reverse scan, so I can do straight. They call it straight scan now, but
Yeah.
I tend to go for reverse scan. But anyway, so that's that. Because I didn't supply voices at the very beginning, we had Roy sitting in what we call Roy's hole, and that was quite fun. I mean, basically, it was like a little tiny soundproof, not really soundproof, but it was a piece of plywood with a microphone, and he had a monitor, and he could see because he was doing the two voices, Zippy and George,
Yeah.
and we could hear him live in the studio, which was nice. Sometimes, if we were at the other end of the studio, we put cans on so we could hear it a bit
Oh, to
clearer.
time when he was talking and when you
Yeah,
guys needed to
exactly.
move and get it in
Yeah,
sync.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But yeah, that's really, it wasn't, I mean, at the window, we had slightly larger chairs because it was a higher thing, and the window was raised a bit.
Yeah.
So we weren't too, it wasn't, it was a bit uncomfortable because the monitor was this side. So I was doing the puppet looking like that. So it's a bit of a, but we couldn't have one down on the floor because there wasn't room for it,
Yeah.
basically. So, but yeah, that's sort of the rainbow, and that was more or less all the way through when we did the
Yeah.
Thames shows. Do you know? I can't remember when we did the Tetra ones. I think we were mostly behind the window. We did our little sort of George and Zippy act behind the window, so it was just a, not a normal chair, but it wasn't too difficult. And then we occasionally went behind the sofa because they had a sort of sitting room thing. We had some wheelies for when we did the very first series of Tetra, which was Rainbow Days, I think it was called, where we ran a shop.
Right.
And we did quite a lot of movement there. We had a bigger studio and we had different sets. So we sort of moved, and they wanted a bit of movement. Different puppets, slightly different look, they looked a bit different.
Yeah.
But I think that's more or less the technical
Yeah, that's brilliant.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Rainbow. I mean, with films and stuff like that, you're really put in a place and you just have to sort yourself out, really, because you come on the day, you get chosen to go through a whole, say, in Labyrinth, in Jareth's throne
Yeah.
sort of room, and you stick your puppet through and you have a monitor. But it's in those days, because it was so long, it's 40 years ago.
It is.
The monitors were a bit like the old computer monitors, so you could hardly see anything. So you just sang, dance, magic, dance.
Yeah.
And you did that forever. And then there were some monitors put on the floor when we were behind the wall having battles and stuff like that. But it wasn't too bad. I mean, most of the films were like that. They also had pits dug, so we could be down
The
below
ground.
the actors. Like, for instance, in Christmas Carol, Michael Caine was on a rostrum higher, and that last scene, I know I talked about it before, but when he brings the turkey in to the Cratchit family, we were in a sort of pit holding
Right. Yeah.
and moving along, which was quite nice. So that's standing, and that's quite nice, really.
Yeah.
A bit more comfortable.
Yeah. Just a bit.
Trying to think. Some commercials can be a bit tricky. They don't always understand that puppeteer's got to hide somewhere.
Yeah. They just presume. Oh, you do your
You
thing.
can just lie on the floor and
Yeah.
dominate. And that isn't always the case. And now, because I'm a great age, I like to be comfortable.
Well, yes.
So but fun enough, I've been asked to do a job that I did about, I don't know, it might be 10 years ago. It was in a very posh shop in where is it? Just off Piccadilly, Savile Row, and it's a very posh woolen shop. And these two ladies ran this beautiful sort of cashmere pullovers, and they've got some lambs that they want to do, and I did these little glove puppets. So I literally I haven't answered it yet, but I will answer it tomorrow. So they want to do another set of little commercials, and I thought, blimey, it's amazing their memories of
Yeah.
stuff. But
Oh,
so that
amazing.
was nice. Yeah. What else? I'm trying to think. Sorry.
That's right.
I think that's sort of more or less up to date with various jobs and
Yeah.
technical things. Really, there I would probably be kneeling on cushions and stuff because it's inside their posh shop. But they're very short little sequences, and glove puppets shouldn't, hopefully, fingers crossed, won't be too difficult to do.
I'm sure you'll find out.
Oh, I will. and I shall express my views on it.
This is an off the throw. This is a throwing question. I'm throwing at you now
Mm,
just to end this episode.
yeah.
With all the jobs you've got going on and you're still doing bits of puppetry and whatnot, would you ever return to do something in the world of Rainbow, whether it be like a TV show,
Well,
special, or something like that?
yeah. Well, funny that you say that, but
Oh,
I know a friend of mine who's been making the Zippy and George puppets. Nothing has been finalized, but he sent a script in to Fremantle Media and to Boat Rocker, who own and they seem to be quite happy. And so they've suggested that they do a pilot. So we'll have, it might, you never know. I mean, there's no dates, no time, set out yet, but that should be fun. And it'll be probably Mark Mander doing George and me doing Zippy. I don't know. And Chris can do George unless he gets Malcolm Lord, who used to
yeah.
do it. He might be free to want to do it. So anyway, that's literally, that was this again. I think it was this week. I got a
Oh,
message
wow.
saying, do you think you'd like to do it? And I said, I'm very old now, but I can do it. Yeah. Anyway, no, I wouldn't say no. So that's might be anyway.
Oh,
I never get too excited until I've signed the
yeah.
contract.
Hey, I'm glad I asked it though. That's very intriguing.
Yeah, it might be. It sounds very interesting. Yeah,
Oh,
very
very
cool.
cool. Well, amazing, Ronnie. That has been this episode. Thank you for talking about your puppetry teaching, a bit of insight of how you did the technical side on Rainbow and your other projects. And
Thank you.
yeah, looking forward to seeing where your projects go.
Oh yes, well I'll let you know. Don't worry.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course, we chat most weeks anyway,
Oh
so
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
keep
That was
catching
great.
up.
Well, thank you very much, Adam. It's always a pleasure talking to you, and you let me witter on forever. So, and as you say, you can edit it a bit if
Oh
you need
no,
to.
my dad enjoys listening to you, so
Oh, funny. Oh,
it's
that's nice.
you know I'll end on this. We did the Rumpelstiltskin reaction episode a couple of years back,
Oh
and I
yeah.
re-uploaded it recently, and he
Ah.
loves that episode. He's just
Oh, it was fun. I like that. It was quite tricky to do with that little puppet.
yeah
And I had little nylon things on the hands to give a little bit of arm movement, but I had to be very careful because they had this spinning top, if you remember.
yes,
And if
putting
I
the
got the
golden string on it.
nylon round, it would whip the puppet. So I had to be, it was quite, because it was straw, and I had to make sure I wasn't. But yeah, no, it was a silly episode, but it was fun.
Oh, it's silly, but it's
Fun.
funny. You look,
Yeah.
it's like there's some films and TV shows you go, it's silly and weird for all the
Mm.
right reasons. So
Yeah.
it's
No,
funny.
absolutely.
But yeah.
Absolutely.
No, anyway, thank you, Ronnie. We will be
Thank
back
you.
very soon with more episodes.
Lovely.
So,
Thank you, Adam. It's been a pleasure,
yes.
as always.
Thank you all
Cheers.
for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Lovely. Bye, everybody.